Brutal Barracuda, a Sniper Elite channel.
Hello.
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 I'm not on push to talk. Wonderful.
Sorry about the delay, everyone. We were just sorting out a minor technical difficulty. I believe, though, we are live, so welcome everyone to the third installment of the Sniper Elite 5 Discord stage events, where today's topic is Sniper Elite 5's settings and characters. We'll be discussing questions sent in by you, the community, so thank you for not only tuning in but sending in these questions. If you have any other questions that you would like to send in, there is a Sniper Elite 5 questions channel in the Sniper Elite section of the Discord. If we have extra time today, we'll be able to perhaps maybe pick out a few to go over. But without further ado, I am joined by some very special guests today from the development side of Sniper Elite 5, of course. So if you could just introduce yourselves and perhaps give us a little bit of information in regards to your role on Sniper Elite 5.
I'll go first. Hi guys, I'm the lead level designer on Sniper Elite 5. Previously, you've probably seen my work in Zombie Army 4 and Sniper Elite 4, and you used to see me on some of the streams back in the day before the world went crazy.
Hi, I'm the lead environment artist on Sniper Elite 5, and I've worked on the previous Sniper Elites 3 and 4.
Hello, I'm Alistair. You may recognize me from some of the older, more obscure streams for the Strange Brigade days. I'm a senior level designer on Sniper Elite 5, as well as being the guy behind the narrative design for the project. Started out in Strange Brigade, for any fans of that, for the narrator, that was something I handled, and then Zombie Army with Beck. Yeah, that's me.
Awesome. So I guess without dilly-dallying and getting straight into the first question, which is coming from Brutal Barracuda, states or asks, how big are the maps and environments compared to the previous entry, Sniper Elite 4?
Oh, I guess I can start with this one. So in SC4, like some of the biggest maps were Viaduct and DLC 3. I think they were like about 600 meters square. So the maps in SC5 we have gone a little bit bigger. I don't know if I can say exact sizes, but I'd say around half as big again. So I guess almost a kilometer square now. It's been quite interesting doing that because obviously we get a bit more room to play with now in the levels, and we can add more cool stuff and more locations for you guys to go and explore and fight Germans in. Yeah, it's been, I guess, quite a challenge as well, art-wise, getting all that onto running on the previous consoles as well. So, Simon, you want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, that is a little bit tricky, just squeezing everything in there. But I mean, as to the size, it does vary a little bit across the levels. You'll find some are perhaps a little bit smaller but more densely packed than others are. And that you'd probably see one of the levels in the trailer with a big cathedral on it. That's a little bit smaller, but there's a lot more in it in a small area.
Yeah, so we do have more AI in these levels as well, obviously, to fill the space. So you will be fighting more guys around as well, and we try to give you guys plenty of stuff to do in the levels as well.
Awesome. So it seems like you mentioned some of the levels will be densely packed. So I suppose there's a variety in terms of sort of more expansive, spaced out levels and sort of more tightly condensed. Would you say there's like an even mix, or?
I'd say we've got more larger levels than we have smaller ones overall.
Awesome.
Yeah, I'd say so. Yeah, but there's a range of different. I guess like there's towns and there's smaller factories and stuff like that. So you'll find lots of different in the bigger maps as well. You'll find smaller, more compact areas as well to fight in.
Awesome. I guess pressing on to the next question, which somewhat ties in, coming in from Steel Wheels, who asks, can we climb on more stuff? And will there be more verticality?
We do have more traversal options in Sniper Elite 5. So I guess one of the things is to be able to free climb stuff. So you might have saw in one of the trailers there was some ivy that KARL was climbing. So we can place that in various locations, like on the side of buildings, so you can climb around the outside of the building, stuff like that. We do try to add as much traversal as we can to allow you to go and find some nice vantage points to shoot people from. And yeah, we do try to add as much verticality as possible. Obviously, the higher you can get, the further you can shoot. So, but again, that has its challenges as well, because we can't let you see the entire level due to performance reasons. But there is plenty of long shots in this game, so you should hopefully everyone should be happy with what we give you.
Yeah, I think there's plenty of variety across all the environments in terms of verticality and actually traversing them with the new climbing mechanics.
Awesome. Moving on to the next question, coming in from Captain Notorious, spelt quite interestingly. Will we come across any US soldiers during the campaign? And if so, what role will they play?
Do you want to handle this one back, or?
You can take this one if you want.
Oh, fantastic! My time to shine. Yeah, so obviously you can see from the trailer, we've got a few US soldiers in the game. Not wanting to give away too much of the plot, obviously, but they're definitely there. That's a nice little juxtaposition. The KARL, from the narrative side, we've got levels that feature them more so as quest givers than as stuff that'll run around the level with you, because obviously this is all still KARL's story, and we're very focused on our single-player espionage as opposed to the more gung-ho Saving Private Ryan set pieces. Not that they're not in the game, obviously, but yeah. So they're in. As regards as to the specifics of what role they play, it's very much so you're gonna have to wait and see. Sadly, I'm afraid. Try to not give it too much away.
That's understandable. A fairly solid answer, I suppose. Another question coming in from Core 2 Tom. Will environmental kills return?
Yes,
Yeah.
is the easy answer to that one.
Yeah, no, pretty straightforward question, pretty straightforward answer, right?
Yeah, you can blow lots of stuff up, and you can drop things on people's heads to squish them. So yeah, there's plenty of that stuff.
Yeah, we tried to place these in like interesting locations. So maybe a guy is patrolling around and he takes a break underneath a pile of crates, and then you shoot the crates and they fall on his head. Obviously. So yeah, there's plenty of explosives and traps in the levels that you guys can use.
Is it, I guess, continuing on the same line, when it comes to sort of designing levels and such, when it comes to environmental or things that player can interact with the environment, do they play a big role in regards to sort of the design, or is it more of a case of, oh, it would really make sense to have sort of this opportunity to have this environmental object, I guess, be used to kill an enemy?
So kind of early on in development, we had everyone sit down and brainstorm ideas for their levels, like what kind of traps or environmental kills they'd like to see in their levels, and we tried to get in as many as we can to give everyone a variety and to give you some unique kills in each level. Hopefully we got well, we hope people got what they wanted into their levels. Obviously we can't get everything in due to budget constraints and stuff like that, but there is some new kills in there in each level, and yeah, I tried to give the level designers a bit of freedom and creativity, let them think of their own ideas, so we don't just say you have to use this explosive barrel here. Try to tie them into the environment as well.
Fair enough. Awesome. Another question then coming in from Cortu Tom. With regards to radio operators and whether or not they'll function the same they did in Sniper Elite 4.
So we don't have a single radio operator now. I'm not sure how much I can go into this. I think we have seen some of it in the trailers, but there are alarms in the level, and different AI can interact with the alarms. So we don't have like a single radio operator anymore.
Cool. Yeah, I believe a few keen-eyed members in the community have spotted something similar to what you've just mentioned, but I guess we'll leave it at that for now. Another question, this time coming in from Neve. Lengthy one here. Eventually, in the timeline of SE1/V2, Karl becomes very hardened and silent compared to his earlier years. Would you say that Karl's personality and introspections have finalized at this point in the series, or is there still room for growth in Sniper Elite 5?
That's a fantastic question, and is definitely one of the challenges when it comes to dealing with a franchise that did the logical thing of starting at the end point of the war and then going backwards in time. But yeah, so Karl's personality is definitely something we try to keep into account, like what he's like going forward, because obviously V2 takes place ahead of this. And he's got his very distinct personality there, but there's still time between when our game takes place and when that game wraps up. So we do want to we explore his personality like a little bit more than we would usually do in the prior games in the series. Not that he didn't have a personality in those, obviously. He did it just his own little stoic way. So it's definitely something we've tried to keep in line with the previous titles, but still have that natural growth of him as a person as much as we can. So there's still room for him to grow a little bit more, because obviously his story isn't quite over by the end of Sniper Elite 5. Between that and 2, we've still got room for a few more bits for him to talk and become the guy he becomes in the later series points of the game. Hopefully that answered your question, and it wasn't just me rambling.
No, I think that was aptly put. It was a lengthy question, requires a fairly lengthy answer.
Awesome.
Along the same vein, though, another question from Neve states they noticed from some SE5 promos, Karl is meeting more members of the future Survivor Brigade from the Zombie Army timeline split. What roles will these members potentially play in regards to aiding Karl in SE5?
Yeah, I did quite enjoy seeing this question when you sent me this around yesterday. Yes, some of you may have noticed Marie Chevalier is in this game. Obviously, she got her debut in Trilogy. So again, like this is the game where we've got the French Resistance, and her backstory in Trilogy was, of course, French Resistance member. There's more to it than that, but I just don't have her blurb in front of me at the minute. So it's just one of those things at the time of development was, right, we need a French Resistance member to be in the game. Who can we use? Ooh, we've got Marie Chevalier already. Let's... Her timeline split. There's nothing saying they never met at this point of the war. The fact they don't talk about it during the zombie apocalypse, there's bigger things going on in the zombie apocalypse than reminiscing about World War II. So it's just one of those nice little things where we put it in for fans of the series, just kind of spot stuff like that. In regards to what they play in the actual story, again, much like the US Ranger, I don't want to give too much away. They're definitely a vital part of the story, and they're in there. And you just get to see a little bit more interaction between them than you would normally see in something that's a bit more tongue-in-cheek, like the Zombie Army series, than you would in, say, the Sniper stuff. So yeah.
Awesome. It's cool to hear. Putting things in that necessarily might slip by some people's radar, but the community, the keen-eyed sort of members would easily spot out. Moving on to again another question from Hauptmann. I hope I'm saying that name right. Again, we can see Japanese flags scattered over some of the levels in the trailers. Is there anything you can tell us in regards to encountering these Japanese troops / targets?
I rather get the feeling people are going to be very sick of me saying it's definitely in the game. But it's part of the story. We don't want to give too much away. Yeah, like, they're there. What part they play is very much up for you all to discover. But hopefully, don't think you'll be disappointed. We've done a lot of stuff research-wise, and it all ties into the bigger picture. So hopefully you won't be disappointed. But annoyingly, I'm having to be a bit of a man of mystery with this stuff.
Well, the best thing you can say, just May 26th, pick up Sniper Elite 5 if you want to see what's going on. Another question coming in from Hartman. Judging from the different trailers, it appears that levels in Sniper Elite 5 will be spread across the entire territory of France. Can you tell us which regions of France will be depicted in Sniper Elite 5?
I mean, I can, but Simon knows them better than I do, and I'm sure he'd like to talk about it as he got to go on the research trips, unlike some of us.
We did, but I can't remember what's been in the trailers now. So there's quite a lot of the northern coast of France in Normandy. You'll have seen already in the trailers. There's kind of a little island just offshore, and that's largely inspired by a location called Mont Saint Michel that we actually had a research trip for. So we went there, had a look around, and that very much inspired the designers and the artists for what they wanted to build for that level. As for the other ones, let's see. Yes, you will be pushing further inland on some of them, and there's a couple of iconic locations later on. But yeah, can't really say more than that on it. But yes, we did have a lot of location trips where we go and have a look, really get a feel for the environments. And we found that actually helped the artists out a lot. Just being able to walk around, look at the different structures, and just sort of soak in the atmosphere.
I guess while you were there, was you doing any photogrammetry?
Yes, we were. Well, sometimes the initial trips were more sort of just scouting locations, and then later on we did have a lot of trips where people, we do a lot of photogrammetry, which if people don't know is basically you get a camera and then you take 100 pictures of a chair, and you can then feed that. That sounds silly, doesn't it? But you do. Basically, from all angles, you can then feed those photos into a very clever bit of software called reality capture, and it will give you a high-res model out the other side, complete with basically all your texture information, and then we will transfer that detail down onto a low-res model that will run in the game. And we've done that for lots of things. So I would say probably about 90% of what you see is, we've scanned, whether that's actual objects in the world, like barrels, crates, tanks, or just materials that we've got. We'll have got and scanned all the textures as well from the walls and the ground, different rocks, that sort of thing. So yeah, there's a big change for us, this project, because previously all we'd really done for SE4 was some head scanning for photogrammetry, where we'd basically captured people's faces to use in game. This time we've extended it to almost everything.
You can definitely see, I suppose, the difference, I guess, that photogrammetry provides in terms of sort of the realism. There's a lot of people in the community have pointed out. I guess one other thing I quickly want to touch upon in regards to the research trip that you mentioned to sort of Mont Saint Michel, sorry.
Yeah.
And just the area in particular, how does that sort of transfer into a playable level? Like, because I know obviously with a lot of sort of very old towns and villages, even, roads and such are quite small. How would that transfer to like a playable level where you've got, for example, patrolling units? Would you have to sort of make concessions in regards to realism to make things more playable, if that makes sense?
Yeah, a little bit. In general, you'll find that everything is a little bit wider. So, like all the AI will have a certain metrics that they have to adhere to in order to function correctly. So there'll be sort of minimum widths for corridors and streets and that sort of thing that we need to use to get everything working. In reality, if you walk around Mont Saint Michel, you might be going around little paths that are less than a meter wide. But obviously, we can't really do them that small in game because the AI might not path down them correctly, or it might not be fun to navigate because it just gets a little bit clunky with the camera as you run around. So generally speaking, everything's a little bit bigger overall.
Interesting. That was just something I was personally personal question, but yeah, no, it's interesting to hear the sort of thought process behind that. Getting back on track, I suppose, and pressing on to the next question from L. Winsky, I believe, who asks, when playing as an Axis sniper in the potential invader mode, will they have more than one outfit?
The 1 week when Ryan isn't around. Yeah, they'll have more than one outfit. How much detail design want us to go into? How many more outfits they've got? I have no idea. I don't want an angry Ryan Baker.
Let's just say that you unlock stuff as you kill people, I think is the easiest way of putting that.
Yes, and to clarify, it's definitely in the game.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's true, obviously.
Awesome. Pressing on then, Biggest asks, will we have tension between French collaborators and French resistance?
Is a me question, isn't it?
Yeah.
So we've got the French resistance in the game, as I said. Again, I don't want to give too much of the story away, which I know is a frustrating answer to get. That's basically going to be the answer, though, I'm afraid.
An answer it is, at least. We have another question, though, from Biggest then. Will French tanks be portrayed in the missions? Only asking as the Germans had made extensive use of captured tanks.
Sounds like an art question, Simon.
No. We don't have any French tanks in the game.
I
That
can
would
see
be the
this.
answer to that.
I can see Biggest is a bit let down by that.
Oh no,
The
sorry, Vegas.
Sorry.
An answer is better than no answer, though. Pressing on then, a question by K3PSU. Spotted a snowy mountain, some of the marketing imagery. Will we be visiting the Alps?
With regards to the market imagery, I'm assuming they're talking about our Wolf Mountain mission, which I think is starting to show up in the marketing trailers, isn't it, Beck?
Yeah, I think that's the kill Hitler mission, I think.
It is.
I'm not sure how much we don't really want to tell you too much about the levels. Yeah, I guess it's one of those answers where we say, I guess we'll find out later.
That's the line we're going with. Yeah, we'll.
Sorry.
That's
So,
all right. No, it
comes
makes
to the
sense.
Q&A question. Get vague answers.
Find out more later. Awesome. Well, we do have another question from K3PSU, so hopefully they'll be happy maybe with this answer. Will there be Waffen SS infantry, and would they be wearing equipment typical to the SS, such as camo smocks and helmet covers?
One
Yes.
for Simon.
There are SS units running around. As for what they've got on their helmets, I can't remember off the top of my head. But we do have SS in the game, which is kind of first time for that, really, isn't it?
Yeah, and a lot of our infantry, we do have a lot of variations there in different outfits for them. Not everyone's going to look the same, depending on where they are.
Right. Okay. Well, there's your answer, K3. Pressing on, I guess this is well. I'm already interested in what answer this is going to get, but can you tell us more about Mola, the villain that we saw in the trailer?
Again, you're gonna get very annoyed with this. Yes, but not to the detail that I'm sure you'd like. As I said, he's an over group reviewer. He's the main villain in the game, the mastermind of Operation Kraken, which obviously is going to tie into the next question and sort of ties in to the previous questions we've had about the Japanese. He's very well connected. He's very much based on certain people in the Reich. We've done a fair bit of stuff with him just to kind of, because again, like going back to another earlier question as well about KARL's personality. One thing that stuck out to us internally from playing the prior titles is while we had main villains like Rothbauer and Bohm, like they didn't have as much connectivity with the player, or at least we felt they didn't in terms of, when you get to kill them, brilliant. But there's no like, finally, I've defeated this dastardly Nazi and his giant tank. So with Mahler, it was definitely something that we want to have where it feels like a lot more of a, maybe not personal, but it definitely feels like a much more of a involved villain, like he's mentioned in the campaign a lot. You see his presence, maybe not directly, but with the actions of what he's done, what his stuff is doing in France, to the places you go. And it just hopefully will lead to you guys feeling it's a lot more impactful at the end. When he gets his comeuppance, which I don't think is a spoiler considering the nature of our games. But yeah, hopefully I answered that question in a bit more detail than what I've been doing so far, but didn't go into too many spoiler territories.
I think you have done a good job this game though. Like, I've played through the entire game lately, multiple times, just giving guys the feedback and stuff. And I must say, I do really enjoy, I guess the story between the characters and stuff like that. I think it's a big improvement over previous games, definitely.
Awesome. You mentioned obviously the next question coming up, of course, and that is about Project Kraken. Again, is there anything that we can tell the community?
So again, like it ties into what I just said about Mahler, but it's that like obviously in the prior games, in 3 it was all building up to the Rat tank or the Rata tank, and then of course in 4 it was bombs or Razor missiles. Kraken, unlike those two, isn't like one specific Nazi super weapon. It's kind of like it's a bunch of stuff come together. Again, I don't want to give too much away, but it's cross department and branch of the army is all I'll really say. Like this, Mahler's connections come into play again. He's quite a key figure in what ends up making up Project Kraken through his connections, through where you go in the game. Like, it's definitely, and again, like what we've done before, it's stuff that the Nazis were working on. And we've taken some liberties, because obviously they never actually built a giant rat tank. And they never actually ended up building what Operation Kraken becomes, but hopefully, when you play the game, you'll see what it doesn't need to become and think, good thing Karl's here to stop it. So, again, sorry to be a bit rambly and vague with that answer, but hopefully that gives you a bit more insight into what Kraken will eventually be when you play the game. Sorry to keep giving advertising slogans as my answers to these questions.
No, it's all right. I'm sure the community appreciates the fact that you've given them more information without outright spoiling what it is for them. I guess looking at some of the questions that we've got in chat, though, Neve again with another question here. Does the invader in invasion mode have any background story, or are they a random elite unit just sent to hunt down Karl?
I mean, it's not like one specific person, because obviously it's you invading someone else. And to get into your point of, do you unlock other things for them? As Simon said, you do unlock things as you play the game. But with the Axis invader, in the game, we're obviously calling them sniper Jaegers, the idea being they're elite Axis snipers there specifically to hunt down KARL in the game. So backstory-wise, they're just basically, they're a tier above our elite snipers because you're controlling them. So in terms of actual backstory, there isn't that much to really get stuck into with them because they are just there to be, you've invaded, time to kill the SOE as a German man.
Awesome. Nevaeh, I hope that answers your question. Another question though that we've had in the chat from Flop, who asks, if you had to put a number on how many photographs you took in total to create this game, what would it be?
1,000. Well, I probably couldn't put a number on it. There are thousands and thousands of photographs, and they're all really high res. So we've got, I think, terabytes of data at this point, just for photographs. So there's a lot. I think we've gradually become, as we've done the photogrammetry more, we've gradually become more efficient, and perhaps learned that we don't need to take so many photographs all the time for everything. But yeah.
What was the hardest asset to photograph? Would you say?
The hardest asset to photograph. Probably the tank.
Yeah, it's quite big, I guess, isn't
Probably
it?
the most challenging. It's certainly the. I mean, you'd think a tank would be quite easy because it's pretty much an iron box on wheels. But no, that turned out to be quite complicated because it generated a lot of very high res data for the models. So it's not the easiest thing to work with.
Awesome. We have another question coming from Brutal Barracuda, who asks, do we have guard dogs in Sniper Elite 5? Which I think might be a question that's come in because there were some images of some dogs being mocapped on social media, I think last month.
Wasn't that an April Fool's?
Not just for the, well, I think that might have been why.
I think we could say there's no dogs. I'm sorry, but I don't like shooting dogs.
I don't think anybody does.
I like dogs.
Well, I hope that's answered your question, Brutal. No shooting dogs. Running through more of the questions here. Whether yes, there will be an archive of the audio in case you miss it. It is all being recorded, I believe.
Magpul asked, what was the budget per level? What was the difference between SE4? I guess that's Simon. Do you know like that kind of stuff?
What are we talking in terms of budget?
I guess like the memory budget. I guess. We've got a bit more to play with, haven't we, over SE4?
Yeah, there's some sort of few changes to the engine that just freed up a bit more memory. So overall, the export sizes for all the levels are larger, given just the larger size. Realistically, it's not a very exciting answer to give. To go, it's
bigger,
few hundred meg bigger than say previous ones, but yeah, they're bigger.
Yeah, and there's been optimizations with AI as well, so we can have more AI in the level, and we also have there's definitely more vehicles in each level as well, so it should feel more lived in. It's a bigger map, but also you should see more enemies.
Awesome. Hope that answers that question for you. Moving on to some of the others that we've got here in chat. I'm not sure we'd be able to give a definitive answer on that one. Will there be a Kraken Easter egg that appears in the ocean somewhere?
I don't know about in the ocean, but I'm fairly sure I've written it somewhere, or at least the Kraken at some point in the game. Some angry German will definitely be screaming it.
And you've put your own Easter eggs into your own level, haven't you?
I've put several Easter eggs into
That
my
is
own
definitely
level.
not being spoiled.
No, that's not being
You'll have to
spoiled.
find that yourself.
Yeah. There's many great things to find in Guernsey.
Firefly CJ asks, do you have any favorite characters throughout the series?
My new favourite characters in this game, but I don't want to spoil who it is. I think Alistair might agree with that as well.
Oh, is it my Easter egg? Yeah.
No. One of the US Rangers.
Ah, yes. So yeah, the prominent US Ranger from the trailer. I don't know if he's been name dropped yet in any of our marketing, so I don't want to yet. But yeah, it's been a nice little standout from what we've got. But in terms of the actual franchise, favorite characters, are we talking? If we're talking about just Sniper, then who do I pick? I'm still partial to Braun from Sniper 3. Him getting yanked by that tank in the story still jumps out at me as well, that sort of thing. But from this game, yeah, who Bex mentioned, the US Ranger that we've got at the start of the game is definitely my standout for this.
No, I think I'd have to go with the characters that are in the level Alistair and I worked on.
Oh, so my Easter egg then.
Yeah.
Yes, they're definitely with a rich, deep backstory as well. If you tag them with your binoculars.
Yeah. Very dangerous at short distances as well.
Incredibly mysterious.
Yeah.
We've had another question come here, I guess, from Brutal, who asks, enemy types. What new enemy types are there, and can we talk about them?
I'm trying to think what we've shown in the trailers now. I don't know what I've shown. I don't want to say nothing in case I haven't shown it off yet. Sorry.
No problem. Better to be safe than sorry. I guess another question coming in from Ogre then. Do we have civilian-related missions, like escorting them and so? Or extraction missions, I guess they could be called.
We don't have any civilians in the game, though. We have the French resistance, obviously, but I guess they're not. They are civilians, yes, but we don't have civilians living in the towns or anything like that.
Awesome. Another question then. When creating the maps, were iconic landmarks chosen first and then built around them, or were the layouts already in mind?
Bit of both. Very much depending on the level. There are a few locations where at least half of them would have been places we visited, and then had the the maps white boxed around what we'd seen, and others are not.
Yeah,
So,
I guess.
So yeah, it's about half and half, isn't it? I think.
Yeah, like I guess it depends on the levels. Kind of feed into the story as well. So if the story needs a certain landmark in a certain level, we'll obviously build that into the level and make sure that's incorporated. Obviously, on our research trips, we'll be walking around and say, "Oh, that's an interesting building," or like an alleyway. Like I'll probably notice an alleyway and think, "Oh, I want to get that in my level because it just looks nice." Yeah, it's a bit of both, like as Simon said.
Awesome. I guess moving on to another question then. What would you say, I guess, would be the biggest challenge that you faced when, in regards to your roles in development for Sniper Elite 5?
Well, the pandemic didn't help.
No,
Uh,
no, that really threw a spanner in the works, didn't it?
yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, so everyone out of the office, go
Yeah.
home, set everything up. Yeah, there were certainly a lot of teething problems to start with, weren't there? Just getting everything
just-
working, communication, all that sort of stuff.
Yes, challenges is the polite way of
Yeah.
describing several
Yes.
of those issues. I mean, just from my end, what we've done with the dialogue in this game is it's an entirely new system compared to what we've done in previous titles. So obviously with that comes certain headaches and challenges, and you find problems as they occur. But it has obviously led to a better experience for the end user and you guys as a result. So challenges throughout. But there's been challenges for everyone in the last few years, I think.
I think for me, in terms of level design, like I've gone from senior to lead over the project, so I've kind of had to give up my level multiple times throughout the project. So I came onto the project late because I was working on Zombie Army 4 until basically the end, and then I got the first level in the game and started working on that, and then I kind of started getting more and more responsibilities outside of my level, so I couldn't really work on my level all the time. So it was kind of a shame. I had to hand it over to other people, and obviously that they've done a great job. Like the people that have worked on it, I can't fault the level. It's great. But it's been hard for me just, I guess, stop working on hands-on on the level basically. It's been great doing the other challenges for me, like leading the team and helping them out and stuff like that. But not doing level design has been a challenge. It's been a shame to hand it off.
Any challenges, Simon?
I think
Good
just
luck.
generally, in challenges. I think just generally the overall size of the environments, everything's a lot bigger. So there's a lot more work and complexity. Just goes into building all that. So it's yeah, I think just the size really of them in terms of the R's.
I guess getting it to run on previous consoles as well. It's been quite difficult.
Yes, and that's mostly that's a bit of memory constraints that you have on the older consoles, and obviously performance not too bad, but it does take a while to get that up to speed and chip away at it till it works.
That was actually going to be my next question in regards to the sort of things you had to do to optimize, but I guess that's sort of covered that.
Optimization, it's generally there's never like one big thing that you can optimize to get it working. It's very much a collaborative event, so art may end up perhaps reducing the complexity of an area a little bit. Design might spawn some AI a little bit later in an area to take some overhead off the CPU. The programmers and the tech team, they'll do a lot of optimizations on the actual code to make it run more efficiently. So, and it's always small wins from each little bit that gradually pushes all your frame rate up and helps you out.
Yeah, there's things like we can block sight lines as well, so you can't see too much of the level. So it's, for example, if you're really high up in a certain place, we'd have to block off certain areas, so we're not rendering the entire map in one go, because obviously that would just really tank the consoles, the frame rates. Yeah, we tried to do all that kind of stuff early on during the white box phase, so we're not changing too much art later on, because it can be a big upheaval if we have to rip out a section and, I guess, add something to block the view.
Yeah, that's generally pretty tricky when you have a very large open flat area of countryside, and you've kind of got to block it halfway through. That gets a bit tricky.
We've had another question come in from Magpul, who asks, were tools like Houdini used perhaps for procedural creation, or was everything hand placed inside a level?
Yes, we have made use of Houdini to do that. We have a variety of different tools that have been written in-house, and they do various different things, from scattering foliage and ground cover across the environment to laying down roads and creating, dry stone walls through fields, that sort of thing. So yeah, we've got quite a few different tools that sort of take reduce some of the more mundane tasks
Yeah,
that on previous games would have taken a long time to do.
yeah, we can use it on our side as well for collision. So, for example, like collision in a field, it's not that fun. So we can just basically select the field, and Houdini will generate collision for us, and then we can just stitch that into our more complex collision around a building, for example. So it saves us time as well in certain locations. It's not usable everywhere, but for anything that's like organic, it's quite good. But for buildings, we will build collision for that ourselves, like by hand. So it helps us speed certain aspects of our job up, which has been quite good to use Houdini.
Awesome. I hope that's answered your question there, then, Magpul. You may not be able to answer this, or maybe might be a bit biased to ask, but do each of you have a favorite mission?
I believe the diplomatic answer here is mine and Simon's.
Yeah, I think that's clearly the best one, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Nick didn't even work on his level. He's just said.
No, he gave up halfway
Did?
through.
Oh.
I mean,
Wouldn't catch me not working on my level back. What are you talking about? All I've been doing for 2 years.
I mean, I'll be diplomatic, and they're all unique in their own way, and that they're all very pretty to look at.
Ours is best.
Fun.
Yeah.
Yours is a very good level. Yes, I'll hand you that. Yeah. No, I don't think I have a favorite really.
If you had to choose, why would it be mine and Simon's?
for the Easter egg.
Yeah, it's a bit awkward. No, he's not.
And
Another question coming in then from Biggest again, who asks, are we going to have enemy characters as mini bosses? The trailer showed a Royal Tiger tank. I assume that means tigers are going to make a return.
Yeah, I guess you can assume that if it's in the trailer. I guess the tanks, that they are more difficult to take down though. That in SC4 it's quite easy to shoot the gunner, and that was it. They were kind of useless after that. But yeah, it's a bit more involved now in taking down tanks, so they will be more of a challenge. Apart from that, I guess we'll wait and see.
Good answer. Just wait and see. You'll have to play Sniper Elite 5 to find out.
We've lost him.
I was wondering what. I mean, just to fill in there and to jump on Ogre's question of can you play as a different character in co-op, and he doesn't mean a skin. Again, don't know much we can give away, but obviously other prior titles like Strange Brigade and Zombie, where you've got bespoke characters that you play as and you've got their distinct personalities. Obviously we've not gone into that level of detail because at the end of the day this is still KARL Fairburne's story and his way forward, but we have done more in this game than we've done in prior titles to make the characters, skins that you unlock, feel a lot more like the character they are in the story. Our AMP has more VO that you can control to help with things like context pings if you don't have a mic, following. Other games that are at the minute where if you don't have a mic but you still want to context ping things to your friends while playing, we've got that functionality, and all those characters that you can play as have their own voice in the game. And co-op, we've got characters, again, they don't have KARL's mission specific dialogue, but where they will have dialogue to play, they'll play their own thing, just to make it feel a bit more like you're not just playing as KARL but dressed up as someone else. So yeah, hopefully that has answered that question in a non-spoilery way.
Awesome.
Welcome back.
On your mic's working again.
Yeah. A pesky USB had decided to pull itself out as I moved my chair.
Oh no.
But thank you for filling in there, Alistair. And I think with that, actually, I think we've pretty much come to the end of the Discord stage event. So I do want to say thank you, obviously, for giving us and the community your time. Is there anything you'd like to say to the community before we wrap up?
Just that Alistair at my level is the best. You should
I mean,
play
that
it.
goes without saying.
Even though Beck doesn't like it,
yeah,
it's the best.
I like all the levels.
You say that. You'd say like ours the most. No, my thing would just be what I've said before, which is obviously, I say the pandemic's been quite a challenge, and obviously we haven't been able to do things like in-person events, which have always been fun doing it in the past, but seeing how excited you guys are getting for the game and the level of engagement you guys are showing in the community and these questions, these things, it is good to see you excited for it as well, and hopefully you'll enjoy the end product. So yeah.
One of my favourite things to do is just come into Discord when we release a trailer and just watch you guys tear it apart and just put every single frame on Discord and say, oh, look at that, look at this, this gun's in here, that scope's there. It's like, you guys like rip it apart, and I love seeing that. Yeah, I can't wait for you guys to start playing the game and sharing your little stories and your playthrough videos and stuff like that. So I'll be jumping in some streams and I'll try and invade some people as well. So keep an eye out.
Oh yeah, day one invasion mode, I'm just going to be griefing everyone. It's going to be such fun!
I think that's what we're
Yeah, it's
do
good.
all
It's
day.
good fun, isn't it? Stalking someone across the map and then gunning them down when they're not looking.
Awesome. And I guess with that, we've come to the end. Thank you, everybody, for your time. Thank you to everybody who tuned in, anybody who sent in questions. Thank you to Beck, Alistair, and Simon, of course, for taking the time to answer these questions. And yeah, I guess we'll see you on the battlefield.
See ya.
So yeah.
Bye.
Alrighty then, if you enjoyed this video, please do give it a like. It really does help the channel to grow. This is a dedicated Sniper Elite channel, so hit the subscribe button to be kept up to date on all things Sniper Elite. And I will see you guys in the next video!
Brutal Barracuda, a Sniper Elite channel.